So the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, which was launched in January, has been in the system for approximately a month and a few weeks. This is my unboxing experience and my first impression using the device in the studio. Let's unbox to see what exactly you have in this device. So the S24 Ultra comes in this tiny little box. It's an expensive device, but what you are getting out of this box is something that, for me, in my opinion, it is middle care. Exactly, is in the box. So you open the box and you put this one aside. So inside the box you have just a few things. So you have the paperwork inside this box that you're going to have over here, and this one, for example, has just a few things inside it. So you throw this one away, and then you have the quick start guide, which you are going to see it in almost all the devices that are coming out this year. And then you also have the USB-C cable, which quite frankly is one of the most important things that you're going to have in this kind of device. So they have the same ejector to the device itself. So the device pretty comes in this small packaging, and I think that Samsung is doing a lot of service to its consumers. So what you're going to notice with this device is this new color, which is the titanium gray. This titanium gray is quite pristine and nice for what it's able to present. A bit warmer than what you have on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So you open it or you turn the front of the device, and then you're going to see that this device is pretty much flattened on the edges. So on this, which is the bottom and then the top part, you are going to see that it is flattened. So this is way different, or it's a deviation from what we have seen with Samsung over the last years. Samsung has always been the pioneer behind the curved edges display. So having a flat panel and then flat edges on this device is quite interesting, and I'm wondering how it's going to feel in the hand. So let's quickly remove the front layer and see what we have over there. So that is the display that you're going to see. So it is just a flat panel. The sides are all chamfered, and you're going to see that this device over here has flat edges. So the bottom part is also flat, and the sides are also flat, and this is quite interesting. So interesting for me because I think that Samsung is also towing the line of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, where the size is pretty much flattened. The bottom part, you are going to see the USB-C, you have the SIM card slot, you have the mic over here, and then you also have the newly designed speaker setup at the bottom. And then also you are going to see the S Pen slot. So the speaker that you have over here is quite fascinating, especially for the fact that it is not like the speaker grill that you always know which comes with smartphones. This is a horizontal cutout, and I'm wondering how the speaker setup on this is going to sound, because for me, I think it's just too small. Most important thing on this device, for me, this is what set this device apart from any other device in the market. That is the S Pen. The interesting dimension is that the S Pen over here is really positioned at the left side, and so I don't know how to feel about this, because I believe that Samsung should make very different variants of the device, where you have one that is positioned at the right side and the other that is positioned at the left side, so that left-handed people can easily access this S Pen because it's at the left side, and then right-handed people can also easily access because it will be at the right side. Placing it at a single spot at the left side, people in a disadvantaged position, especially the right-handed people, just like it used to be on the right side, which was also putting people at a disadvantaged position. So Samsung should find a balance with this, so that when you are buying it, you know exactly which variant that you are picking in terms of the S Pen. So this S Pen over here is really small. It's very tiny. And as you can see, it's really tiny. Let me compare it to the S Pen that you have on the tablet device that you have for Samsung. So this is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Plus's S Pen, and this one is is really huge. Let's contrast and see. So if you put the two together, you see that one is really bigger than the other, and that's quite interesting. I mean, you can still use the S Pen on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra on the tablet, but then you are not going to have the same experience because they all have different kind of riding experience, because that this one is giving you a bigger grip in terms of having a physical pencil or pen in your hand. So these S Pens are quite interesting, and I think that the only thing that sets this device apart from any other device that you're going to find in the market is the S Pen. And I think that Samsung has done really well for maintaining this over the last decade or the last years that they've been using the S Pen in their devices. So you're also going to see that at the right side you have the power button, which is just below the volume up and down button. Then you also have a cutout over here. I mean, a lot of people wonder what this cutout is. This cutout, you also have the same thing on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But I think that this cutout over here, I don't know if a lot of people are aware of this cutout, but this cutout over here is what is known as 5G connector port that you have over there. So this is where the modem is really positioned or placed. So you can see it over there. And I just wanted to draw that clarity so that next time you see it on your device or on the iPhone or the Samsung, that is the 5G modem connection or the port. So you have it there as well. The back of the device is frosted and it looks really, really nice. The thing that I'm noticing over here is that this device is a bit hefty, because the previous Samsung device that we had, those ones had aluminium chassis. The entire body was built with aluminium. But this time around, this thing is built from titanium grade 2. So grade 2 titanium on the frame, all around it. So on the edges, on the sides of it, the bottom, the top, and then the other side. These are all grade 2 titanium. And then this grade 2 titanium is different from what you have on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. What you have on the iPhone 15 Pro Max is a grade 5 titanium. So they are relatively on the same pedestal of titanium, but they have different components in it. I think that with what we saw from Jerry Riggs' experiment with the grade 2 titanium over here on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, it's a little bit harder in terms of premium quality than what you have on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But if you also come from the iPhone 15 Pro Max, you are going to see something different over here. You are going to see that this one is a little bit lighter than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Of course, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is, in terms of grams, the weight, it is 220 grams, and then this one is 233 grams. So this S24 Ultra seems to be a little bit heavier than the iPhone, but in terms of holding it, using it, you realize that this is quite lighter. I don't know how Samsung was able to do it, but this design over here is huge. This device over here is big in the hand. Beefy device, very big in size. So if you have smaller hands, I do not encourage that you buy this device to use, because you are going to have tough time using it or adjusting to use this device. So it's really big in terms of the size. The display on this Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is a 6.8 Dynamic AMOLED 2X display, which has HDR10 plus. It also has LTPO. So it means that the refresh rate can run all the way from 1 Hz to 120 Hz. So the fluidity in terms of using application on this device is going to be really, really amazing. Samsung has bumped up the peak brightness in terms of this display from the S23 Ultra. So when you come to this device, you are going to notice a higher brightness. So when you are in daylight, you are going to have this kind of peak brightness at 2600 nits of peak brightness. That is huge. It is just a bit about 100 nits of brightness higher than what you have on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So from the iPhone 15 Pro Max to this device, you are not going to notice any kind of change or difference in terms of the brightness. But the only thing you're going to notice is that this has an anti-reflective coating on it. So when you put it directly under a light source, it's not going to really reflect on it. Put on the display and we see what Samsung is in it. So I like the simple way of putting this device. It's just simple and fluid and easy, and you can just go your way. But I hate that Samsung still has a lot of text, inscriptions, Android, this powered by this, then all of it on it. I think they need to trim it down. It is what I like the most about the back of this Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, is because there's barely minimal sort of branding at the back. Has been able to flash the Samsung logo or the branding into the body, and so it's become very difficult to see. I've pushed it way really into my lens, and still you can't really see it. I like that really a lot. It's just it gives the device premium level kind of quality, and it streamlines it. You register for the fingerprint sensor. I noticed, from what I've heard from other creators, is that the fingerprint sensor on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is using a new technology, and so it is much faster now, and the area sensitivity is also very fluid and speed. So I'll compare it with the Samsung Galaxy S21 and see if indeed there's an improvement over there. So we try to set up the fingerprint sensor, and it takes just a few moments to do so. For me, I think that if the iPhone has a fingerprint sensor, which is an embedded fingerprint sensor within the display, I would have really appreciated, because I don't want to always use a Face ID to enter my device. Between dark mode and light mode, which one do you prefer? Let me choose light mode, and after I rant a few comments over here, and we can see what this is. So the device is now set up. It's the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, and the S21 against the S24 Ultra. Let's look at the fingerprint sensor and see which one is faster over here. Whoa. Okay, let's light it and see which one. I have not seen any difference between these two kind of fingerprint sensors. It's just that the S24 Ultra feels a little bit. I don't think so. I don't think it even feels faster. I think the claims are just there, and probably I don't know. Probably maybe it is my eyes that is seeing things like that. Maybe. When you have this device, you're going to see this kind of applications that you are going to have. And I know that some people will say that these are bloatwares, and these are pretty much like their devices or their application that you are going to meet on the phone, and so they don't want it, and so they call it bloatware. They're pre-existing applications, and if you call it bloatware, every phone has bloatware on it, because not every application on it are you going to really use, except that Samsung tends to duplicate applications over here. Why Samsung has its own applications, it has duplicated Google's own applications over here. So I think that what Samsung needs to do is that it needs to polish up the experience. It's either going for Google experience applications, or it's going for Samsung exclusive applications. So if you have Samsung browser, it should just be Samsung browser. If you have Google Chrome, it should just be Google Chrome. You can't have Chrome at the same time Samsung browser over there. The camera on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is so huge. They are so huge that the device can't stay at one point in time. So when you press over here, it stays still. But when you press at the other side, the corner side of the right side, you realize that it's pretty much shakes. So when you press at this side, you see that it's rocking on the device. Can't stay still on a desk or any surface. So I think that it's just because of the camera. Now let's talk a bit about the cameras. Cameras over here are 200 megapixel main sensor, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 50 megapixel 5x telephoto sensor, and then we also have 10 megapixel 3x telephoto. Notice that someone said something that was Sundays. He said something that the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra has a new microphone embedded within the periscope lens. It's tiny to see. So if you look at the lens at the top over here, this lens over here, this tiny one over here, it has an inbuilt microphone. So if you take a critical look at it, you see that there are two dots inside, and one of the dots is actually in reference to a new microphone that Samsung has put it and inside the camera. And that's quite interesting. I don't know why Samsung would put a microphone over there, because we already have two microphones at the top, and then you have another microphone at the bottom. So in all, you have pretty much about 4 microphones on this device. Wow, that's going to really improve the microphone quality of this device. Let's take a few moments and check the camera over here. Within the camera setup, you're going to see that 12 megapixel, 50 megapixel, and then the 200 megapixel toggles inside over there. And that is quite interesting. I think that Samsung needs to really change this kind of setting from the 12 megapixel to probably maybe the 50 megapixel as the main sensor, or probably maybe 24 megapixels, because the iPhone's main sensor is 48 megapixel, but then automatically it is 24 megapixels. So this one, I know that it's also going to have that kind of same experience. Front-facing camera is just 12 megapixel, which Samsung sometime back ago, about 2 years ago, downgraded it from the 40 megapixel that we had on the S21 Ultra front-facing camera, which was 40 megapixel, to this one that we have 12 megapixel. But I'm seeing that this is quite sharp. At default, the video settings on this is just full HD 30 frames per second, and this can shoot up to 8K 30 frames per second. So Samsung should find a way of moving this kind of full HD from there. At least you make the default at 4K 30 frames per second, but this you can shoot 4K at 60, and you can even shoot at 4K at 120 fps. So that will give you a smoother experience using this device to shoot your videos. And for 8K, man, people say it is a gimmick. I don't think it's a gimmick. It depends on what you want to do. I know that this consumes a lot of space. This has a 5000 milliamperes battery. The 5000 milliamperes battery, from some of the speed tests and battery tests that I've seen, this is a battery beast, just like the iPhone 15 Pro Max. They go head to head. And it also has a reverse wireless charging. It also runs on Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor, which is very efficient. And this is what Samsung needs to do. They need to standardize the Snapdragon versions of their phone and forget about their Exynos, because the Exynos these days is not giving Samsung any kind of good experience. What are my early impressions or first impressions? I think my first impressions are just that this is a solid device. It's run on Android 14, One UI 6.1, which comes with a bundle of features, rich features. Of all smartphones in the world, this is the smartphone that has a lot of features. This is where I'll draw the curtains as my first impression on unboxing experience. My name is ABEiiKU, and I'll see you in the next video. So kindly subscribe to the channel. See you.